She drifted silently across the Atlantic, her sails full, her deck intact, yet not a single soul aboard. What happened to her crew remains one of the greatest maritime mysteries of all time. This is the story of the Mary Celeste. In 1872, the Mary Celeste departed New York for Genoa with cargo, crew, and the captain's wife and daughter. 10 days later, she vanished without a trace. The De Gracia found her drifting mid-Atlantic. No distress call, no crew, no visible damage. The ship floated eerily as if paused in time. Food was untouched. Ship's log was intact. Lifeboat was missing. No sign of a fight, a storm, or even a hasty departure. The last logbook entry mentioned nothing unusual, just calm seas and standard readings. After that, nothing. Just absence. She was towed to Gibraltar. Authorities searched for clues. The mystery only deepened. No foul play, no conclusion. Rumors erupted. Pirates, mutiny, madness. But the scene offered no blood, no missing cargo, no struggle, just eerie calm. Some suspected toxic alcohol fumes from the barrels, but none had leaked or exploded. The ship was silent, not scorched. A waterspout? A freak natural event? Possible. But how did it take the crew and leave the ship pristine? Superstition took root. Was the Mary Celeste cursed? Was she a ship that consumed her own? Captain Briggs was experienced, trusted, and brought his family. Hardly the type to flee in fear or abandon his vessel. After her recovery, sailors refused to crew her again. The ship gained a new title, the Cursed Ghost of the Atlantic. Owners came and went. The Mary Celeste passed through many hands, but bad luck followed every captain who took her. In 1885, she was wrecked in a staged insurance scam. The fraud was discovered. The curse, some said, had claimed another. The man behind the scheme died under mysterious circumstances not long after. The legend grew. Despite extensive searches, the missing crew and lifeboat were never found. It was as if they had dissolved into the sea. Newspapers called her the ghost ship. Writers, poets, and seafarers kept her tale alive for generations. The more they told it, the less sense it made. The Mary Celeste became myth-wrapped, in fact, retold but never resolved. Some claimed to hear footsteps echoing across her empty deck. Laughter, voices, a ship haunted by the vanished. Was it fear? Panic? A shared delusion? Or something no human eye was meant to witness? They say she's still seen, drifting with sails full, no crew, appearing just before storms. A warning. The ocean hides her truth well. She drifts silently now, across calm waters, asking no questions and giving no answers. Among sailors, her name is rarely spoken. It is not a story. It's a superstition, a ghost you don't invite. What happened to Captain Briggs and his crew remains one of the greatest mysteries in maritime history. The final journal entry spoke of clear skies. Then, all records end, as though they stepped into another world. There were no signs of violence or struggle, only a ghost ship adrift, waiting for answers that never came. No wreckage, no flares, no final message, Just a perfectly good ship without its people. The ship floated on without guidance, drifting like a shell, haunted by the silence of its missing. Investigators developed theories, but none matched the facts. The Mary Celeste refused to be solved. One sailor dreamed of her every night, waking with cold sweat and a whisper in his ear. Another survivor of the salvage refused to speak of her ever again. He simply left the sea behind. Researchers across generations became obsessed, poring over logs and clues, never reaching certainty. She became the template for ghost ship stories, but none could match her eerie stillness and enduring mystery. Other ships vanished, but always with evidence or wreckage. The Mary Celeste stood alone in her perfection. She now lives in folklore, drifting eternally in the minds of those who seek the unknowable. The sea doesn't confess. It offers only silence, leaving the curious to echo their questions to the waves. If her crew ever returned, what would they say? Would they speak of terror or wonder? Some say we're not meant to know, that this mystery is the sea's alone. The ocean has a way of claiming what it wants. The Mary Celeste may be its proudest trophy. Even now, stories swirl. Podcasts, books, late-night whispers. Yet she remains unknowable. She visits dreamers, those drawn to sea and mystery, appearing just long enough to leave questions. If you hear footsteps behind you at sea, maybe it's them, walking where they once lived. If the wind changes suddenly, don't listen too closely. Some voices belong to the drowned. You may feel the ocean calling you deeper, beckoning you to follow the vanished crew. But beware. Some stories pull you in too far. Some ships should remain undisturbed. Close your eyes. Let the waves cradle you into sleep, where legends drift and mysteries whisper. And as her story sinks into silence, one question remains, echoing through time, wind, and sea. Do you believe it? To this day, the Mary Celeste remains a name spoken in hushed tones by sailors, historians, and believers in the unexplained. She wasn't wrecked. She wasn't looted. She was simply emptied, quietly, without reason, and without a trace. But what if she wasn't alone? Years later, another ship would send a message far more terrifying. Its final words, "I die." In the late 1940s, a chilling SOS echoed across the Strait of Malacca. All officers, including captain, dead, lying in chart room and bridge. Possibly whole crew, dead. Moments later, another distorted message broke through, nearly unintelligible. Then came one final phrase, terrifying and clear, "I die." Then, only static remained. The distress call came from a ship that didn't exist on record. The SS Ourang Medan, a ghost on paper, a phantom in the waves, its voyage, mission, and crew completely unknown. Nearby vessels triangulated the signal and rerouted their course. None could have prepared for the nightmare they would encounter on those silent waters. Rescue crews boarded cautiously and were met with a haunting sight. Lifeless crew members scattered, eyes wide open, faces contorted in agony and fear. No blood, no wounds, just bodies frozen mid-scream, limbs stiff and reaching. Even the ship's dog had perished, teeth bared in death at some invisible enemy. The radio operator was found at his station, slumped forward, hands still clinging to the Morse key, his lifeless stare locked on some unseen horror. There were no signs of struggle or illness, no signs of a fight, just eerie calm, like death had swept over the ship all at once, leaving terror in its wake. The hold remained untouched. Tools were orderly, supplies stacked neatly. Nothing had been stolen or disturbed. It was as if time had simply stopped. The temperature in the lower decks was bizarrely low, unnatural for tropical waters. Freezing cold, as though something unearthly chilled the air itself. As investigators descended further, a thin stream of smoke began to rise from below deck. No one could find the source. Fear rippled among the crew. They barely had time to react. An explosion erupted with blinding force. Flames engulfed the ship. Those who had boarded leapt for their lives. The SS Ourang Medan sank beneath the sea in a fiery collapse. Every body, every clue, every answer gone in minutes, swallowed by the depths. Authorities searched records but found nothing. No port of origin, no registry. Some claimed the ship had never existed at all. A fabrication, a myth. But those who answered the call saw her. They saw the dead. The terror was real, even if the evidence was erased or never truly there. Some believe the ship carried unstable chemicals, possibly nitroglycerin or nerve agents meant to be transported in secret and leaked by accident. Others insist it was cursed, carrying stolen relics, ancient artifacts taken from temples never meant to be disturbed or desecrated. The ocean is old. It remembers what we forget. It keeps secrets and occasionally offers them back to those who dare listen closely enough. Other rumors took shape. Military cover-ups, rogue scientific experiments, or secret cargo reacting catastrophically with salt and time. And still, others insist the crew encountered something not of this world. A presence, a force so alien and vast that it shattered their minds. No words could capture what they saw, only terror, and one last breathless plea over the radio. The voice of a man who had already accepted death. I die. That message became legend shared in maritime halls and whispered in bars where sailors drown their fears in dark rum. The Ourang Medan became an omen. Her name spoken only when the winds are calm and the horizon too quiet. No one calls her just a story. To this day, no wreckage has been recovered. Not a crate, not a fragment of hull, not a single logbook. Just fading memory and fear. Some seafarers swear she returns. A glowing silhouette adrift in violent storms, doomed to replay its final moments over and over. Fishermen talk of shadows, ships that follow silently, disappear when chased, and reappear when least expected, just over the horizon. The ocean holds its truths tightly. But some ghosts rise from beneath the waves and refuse to be forgotten, even after generations. Scholars dismiss it. Governments ignore it. Still, the tale spreads. The silence from authorities only deepens the mystery's pull. Some photos surfaced, then vanished. Witness accounts disappeared. Survivors fell silent, or were never seen again. Suppression, some believe. Those who responded to the call said little. Their eyes told more than their words ever could. Eyes hollowed by something unspeakable. The Ourang Medan is a name that lingers, a curse without origin, a ship swallowed by the deep, yet still drifting in stories and superstition, a vessel of the dead, untouched by violence, but devastated by something no one could see or explain. What power could silence an entire crew? Could this happen again? Could other ships have vanished the same way, without a signal, without a trace, in oceans too vast to police? Some late-night radio operators claim to hear it, static, then a chilling whisper carried across time and tide. I die. Would you respond to such a message? Would you follow that call? Or would you turn off the radio and pray it forgets your voice? Some answers are not meant to be found. Some questions unravel you. Some ships are better left where the sea buried them. And so she remains, just beneath memory and myth, waiting in silence, restless and invisible, drifting across eternity. What truly ended those lives? Was it chemical, paranormal, or something the human mind cannot comprehend? No one can say for certain. The only truth lies beneath the waves, clutched in the sunken hull of a ship lost to time and logic. And if you hear that signal one day, just know, she may be calling not for help, but for company. Because if you seek the Ourang Medan, you may find her. And if you do, she may not let you go. As the sea settles and silence returns, the tale slips into darkness, unanswered, unclaimed, and carried by the tide. Legends whisper that the Ourang Medan was never truly sunk, just hidden in the folds of time, slipping between dimensions, lost but not destroyed. Some say she's a ghost ship only visible to those marked by death. A beacon for souls untethered from life, doomed to wander alongside her. The coordinates of her last transmission still circulate on forgotten message boards, daring thrill seekers to listen for echoes from the deep. Navy sonar reports static anomalies in the area, blips with no vessel, no signal, no explanation. The sea answers only in silence. Some divers report nightmares after visiting the region. Visions of wide-eyed corpses, Morse code in their ears, and smoke under their feet. The truth sleeps beneath crushing waves, guarded by pressure, darkness, and time. But stories don't need proof to take root. They need belief. If one ship can vanish so completely, how many others are missing, uncounted, unremembered, swallowed without a sound? As the waves close over this tale, remember the final signal. A whisper from the abyss, terrifying, eternal. Do you believe it? No one ever claimed her. No record confirmed she existed. Yet the bodies were real, and the horror undeniable. To some, she was a warning. To others, a ghost that surfaced briefly, screamed her final breath, and vanished forever. But it wouldn't be the last time a ship returned without her crew. Years later, a schooner ran aground, intact, stocked, and completely deserted. On January 31st, 1921, the Carroll A Deering was found run aground at Cape Hatteras, North Carolina, an imposing five-masted schooner sitting eerily silent and completely deserted. Her sails stood tall, her galley was freshly stocked, and the logbook had vanished. But not a single soul remained aboard. No crew, no captain, no lifeboats, just absence. The ship's navigation gear was missing. No signs of struggle, no wreckage. It was as if the crew had disappeared in an instant, leaving the vessel adrift and unanswered. A lighthouse keeper had seen her days earlier, her deck filled with strange men, and a crew member yelling through a megaphone, requesting help in an oddly staged scene. The voice on the megaphone wasn't the captain. Witnesses said the men looked tense, suspicious. They claimed the ship lost its anchors and needed to forward a message. Later, she ran aground at Diamond Shoals, known as the Graveyard of the Atlantic, a notorious strip where many vessels had met their end under mysterious circumstances. When officials boarded the Deering, everything seemed untouched. Beds made, charts aligned, meals prepared. The only thing missing was the entire human presence. The Last Supper sat cold and uneaten. Radios were untouched, doors wide open, like everyone had left suddenly in coordinated silence, leaving no personal trace behind. Oddly, the wheel was shattered and the rudder chain broken, though records confirm the sea was calm. No storm that night, no conditions to prompt an emergency. Coast Guard logs offered no clue. No calls for help, no flares, no reports. Between the last sighting and discovery, the Deering had gone totally dark. One theory suggests a mutiny. The captain was known to be harsh. Some think the crew overpowered him and fled. But where and why abandon the whole vessel? Some believed pirates were involved. In the 1920s, whispers of communist revolutionaries hijacking vessels circulated, yet no ransom or stolen cargo was ever found. There were no valuables missing, no personal effects scattered, no blood, no damage. Everything was intact, except the people who made her sail. Another angle. Rum runners. During Prohibition, criminals repurposed ships for liquor smuggling. But again, nothing missing, and nothing added either. Smugglers wouldn't leave a ship with food untouched, charts still in place, and no illicit goods on board. The hold remained orderly, unused, and strangely clean. Some tie her to the Bermuda Triangle's influence, though geographically she lies just north. Still, strange vanishings in the region fuel that belief. The waters near Cape Hatteras are notoriously tricky. Sudden storms, rogue currents, equipment failure. Yet the Deering showed none of those typical signs. Other vessels had seen ghostly ships in those parts, phantoms in the mist that disappeared when approached. Could Deering have become one herself? The FBI took up the case. Naval intelligence, too. Dozens of interviews, miles of notes, stacks of theories, but no answers solid enough to close the file. Newspapers spun wild tales. Sea monsters, sabotage, magnetic vortexes, even alien intervention. Each more bizarre and seductive than the last. Congress reviewed the mystery. A full inquiry brought out every expert, yet each explanation collapsed under scrutiny. The enigma deepened. That same month, 5 other ships vanished in nearby waters. No wreckage ever found. No distress calls. A deadly silence wrapped the Atlantic coast. Among them, the SS Hewitt. She too disappeared days before the Deering was found. Theories soon linked their fates in a chilling maritime puzzle. What force could silently remove entire crews, leaving no marks, no signals, just operational vessels drifting into legends? Some claim a rogue wave or hidden shoal, but experts refute this. Conditions were too stable, and trained sailors would have fought to stay on board. A suggestion surfaced: carbon monoxide poisoning. Perhaps the crew grew disoriented, fled the ship in panic, and were lost to the sea. But investigators found no evidence of gas buildup. The stoves were intact, the air clean. No explanation held for such a calm, yet total disappearance. Old sailors speak of ships taken by the deep. Not wrecked, not broken, just claimed. Absorbed by forces they dare not name aloud. Some believe she's still out there appearing in fog banks, unmanned and unmoored, gliding quietly with her ghostly legacy intact. Her tale passed from dock to dock, from sailor to sailor. The Carroll A Deering became a cautionary whisper, a name uttered in hushed tones. She didn't go down in flames or thunder. She whispered out of existence, and that's what makes her all the more terrifying. Mystery isn't always in the explosion. It's often in the stillness that follows, in the eerie normalcy that cloaks the uncanny. Not a single diary, note, or letter was recovered. No lifeboat washed ashore. The crew had simply been erased. Men of all ages, seasoned mariners and green deckhands removed like chalk from a blackboard, as if their chapter was never meant to be finished. Maybe they saw something, heard something, followed something into the fog. A lure, a call, a trick played by the sea itself. Since then, countless sightings of the Deering have been reported, her silhouette trailing the horizon, vanishing when pursued. Fishermen swear they've heard her bell toll in the night, long after the tide pulled her remains into the abyss. Every ghost story carries a kernel of truth, and the Deering's legend is steeped in maritime fact, official records, and verified loss. Divers near the site report headaches, malfunctioning gear, a sense of dread, as if the sea itself remembers and warns them away. Lights fail, compasses spin, and radio signals distort. The wreck, or what's left of it, hums with invisible pressure. Some theorize strong magnetic fields haunt that stretch of ocean. Others believe it's cursed by long-forgotten rituals or ancient shipwrecks. Or maybe the sea simply resents intrusion, especially in places where so many lives were swallowed without reason or mercy. The Deering's wooden bones have dissolved, but her soul remains, a ghost in the fog, a question that still floats unanswered. Few shipwrecks cause such enduring chills. She didn't sink, she didn't scream. She simply waited, then whispered herself into legend. She wasn't the first ghost ship, but she is among the most enduring. Her story continues to infect dreams and haunt coastlines. Every historian with salt in their veins has tried to solve her. None have. The more you investigate, the further truth slips away. Had even one crew member been found, maybe we'd understand. But because she came back alone, her silence echoes louder. Was it weather, madness, betrayal, or something stranger? The Carroll A Deering reminds us that oceans keep more secrets than they give. Perhaps the last thing her crew saw was not of this world. Perhaps their silence is the final warning. And now you know the name that still drifts through fog and time. Carroll A. Deering. Do you believe it? 3 ships, 3 disappearances. No bodies recovered. No clear answers. Only whispers left behind in the waves. From the Mary Celeste to the Ourang Medan to the Carroll A. Deering. Each vanished crew adds to the sea's growing collection of secrets. The ocean doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers. Do you believe it?